Welcome to a segment we've amusingly titled Man United's Window Pain. I think Eminem's got a lot to answer for in regards to that. Anyway, Man United have spent in excess of 100 million, well in excess of 100 million this summer. The big question is, though, with no Champions League guaranteed as a result of it, is it money well spent? Andy, should we start with you on that?
I don't really see what they've got for it. You know, when you look at like United's net spend, and it's not just this summer, it's going back to last summer when they had that last-minute dash for Fellaini where bizarrely they managed to pay over his release clause, having let it expire. I just let that sink in. You just wonder what they've really got for it. They're still really short, and you know, you're looking pro rata. It might cost them up to 300 million or something to make the changes that they really need to.
Yeah, it does seem a bit baffling. I mean, as sort of alluded to there, Ray, it looks like they've overspent on a number of the players. I mean, the question isn't something we were discussing off camera, very interestingly, and we want to make sure we carry that off on camera, was that if they'd maybe had a better start to the season, would they have been more inclined to spend less money, or is this, you know, has that fueled a panic buy, or do you think they would have spent that money?
Well, certainly clubs who they're looking at their players are saying, well, Manchester United desperate, absolutely desperate for players. We can put another 20 million on. Exactly what's happened to Di Maria probably. But I still think Van Gaal, when he took the job, said to Manchester United, I need a lot of money to get this team back to where it should be. So I think he would have still spent money. If they'd won the first two games, he would have definitely gone in for the likes of Vidal, we're talking about, and Di Maria, who they've signed. So I don't think it would have changed. It would have been much better for the supporters at the moment. After the first two games, you know, not very good. 1 point, it's not good enough for a team like Manchester United. But certainly Van Gaal will come into the job saying, I need money to get back to the glory days of Manchester United. Yeah,
we've got a footy writer with us. It looks like Vidal could be making his way to Old Trafford as well. What do you think? Is that another potentially inflated fee? Is it the kind of player they should be buying? Andy made a point earlier, it was that, you know, they wouldn't have maybe moved for him quite as drastically earlier on in the summer because of his fitness issues.
Yeah, 100%. He is a quality player, but Juventus know, let's put some more money on him, you know, and then all of a sudden Man United are paying an overinflated fee again, and now they've spent 150 million or 140 million, and it's a lot of money, and with no guarantee of Champions League football, they've got to start looking at financial fair play as well, potentially, if they're not getting rid of players like Danny Welbeck and Kagawa for decent sums of money. So Vidal could be a panic buy, but would also be a really solid player that Manchester United need. So it works.
Just a quick thought on Andy. I was thinking about with regards to Di Maria and looking at, we talked about maybe does he paper over the cracks to a certain extent, getting an attacking player in, but is there a question there? He could be, looking at Louis van Gaal and what he did with the Dutch national side, could he be the sort of Iron Robin of this team? Because we saw how vital he was to the way they played at the World Cup.
No, I don't think he is. He's not that type of player anymore. And Van Gaal, having seen him at length, knows he's better further back. Theoretically,
do you think he'll play more centrally rather than?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like having Vidal next to him, having a fit Vidal next to him would be vital. And Vidal, I think, beyond Di Maria, is a game changer if he's fully in nick. But I don't think it's even about the price being especially inflated for Man United. They just looked earlier in the summer. They thought, well, he wasn't really in nick at the World Cup. Do we want a player who relies so much on his physical power, but isn't quite the full ticket, especially when you're coming into the Premier League? You need to be super fit.
Yeah.
And it's an enormous gamble.
From Serie A as well, of course, there is a massive step up in physicality.
A little, I think it's fair to say.
If you don't agree, it's always, no, Paul, I don't agree with that point at all.
It's always a bit of a shock to the system. The Premier League physically is that little step up. So you don't want him to go the way of Shevchenko, who of course arrived half fit after a World Cup and never really got to the rhythm.
Okay then, Man United fans, some very exciting signings coming in Old Trafford, and don't forget, if Louis van Gaal's men are on TV, they're on Virgin Media.
When you get to the till.
So you know what, let's get them both in. Why not? It's a big basket.
Kadira and Carvalho.
Oh, wow, let's get them both in. I'm sure Arsenal fans will be happy to hear that.
I think we need two strikers more than